webinar is on ACM, which is the Ambulatory Claims Manager for RelayHealth. We have this integrated with Management Plus so that it is a single sign-in process from Management Plus. For those of you who currently use RelayHealth, we store the username and password within the username in Management Plus. So if you have a user that, usually this is for the billing department, within that user profile there's a settings tab in electronic claims. This is where we store that username and password. This username and password is going to be in here until you take it out. The password will have to be updated every 90 days, and this password field is where you need to come update and change that information. Okay, once you have this information set up for your users and your ACM is active and live, it is accessed from Management Plus under File, Billing, Electronic Claims, and Manage Online. All right, we are going to go through the Claims Manager and show you how to find claims, how to fix rejections, and so on. There are three primary pieces to the Claims Manager within RelayHealth. The entire thing, ACM, Ambulatory Claims Manager, there is a Task Manager, there's a Claims Manager, and there is also the Report function. The Task Manager and the reports are available in other webinars. Today we are going to focus on the Claim Manager portion. So on my screen you can see over on the left side we have these three options. Okay, we have the Task Manager, Claim Manager, and then we have Search Tools. Like I just said, we're going to focus on the Claim Manager and the Search Tools today, and in another webinar there will be the Task Manager. Okay, so what we're looking at right now is the Claim Manager within ACM. Okay, this screen is split up into three sections. The first section is the claim selection. Okay, this claim selection is basically a search field. These are all searchable fields for you to find data that you're looking for. So in your customer ID, that's just the name of your office. Okay, you're not going to have a lot of choice in that. You're not going to be able to see other offices' information. So where I have a drop down right here, you will not see that drop down. Okay, the claim status. All right, we're going to talk about some of these in a few minutes. The second section is the search criteria. Okay, these are your results of what you searched. So right now it's blank, and we'll get to that eventually. And then we have the third section is our status messages for selected claims. Okay, and we'll talk about that also. So this screen, we have three sections. This first piece, like I said, everything in the blue is a searchable field. Okay, in this first column are statuses. We're going to talk first about the statuses so that everyone understands kind of the life cycle of the claim from Management Plus to the time it is paid or it shows up on that EOB. Okay, when you go into statuses, you have a list of statuses that we can tell it to search for. All right, anything that is checked with this little X, that is what the system will be looking for when we go ahead and tell it to select those claims. All right, so just to kind of give you an idea of the life cycle, how these statuses come into play, the very first thing that's going to show up is that your claim is loaded. Okay, so in Management Plus, you build your batch of electronic claims, you go in, send selected batch, it goes to the clearinghouse. The clearinghouse is going to load it into their system. It's going to show in ACM as a loaded claim. Okay, those claims, after they are loaded, they can be valid or they can be invalid. Okay, if it is a valid claim, that means it passed all of the clearinghouse edits and it will be forwarded on to the insurance company. If it is invalid, that claim did not pass the clearinghouse edit, there needs to be some sort of action taken to correct that claim, and then it can be resubmitted and sent back through for processing. Invalid rejections, an example of that would be an invalid insurance insured ID format. So maybe you sent a dash, or maybe you're missing the A or the B at the end of the Medicare number. Okay, so you're going to have a valid or invalid claim. After that, your claim is going to be sent to the insurance company for processing. Okay, and then we might see any of these acknowledged or accepted statuses. Okay, that just means either a third party acknowledged the claim or another clearinghouse acknowledged it. The reason there's so many is because some of these payers and these insurance companies use intermediaries. So it will go from Management Plus to RelayHealth to a third party before it gets to that specific insurance company. Not every claim is going to hit every one of these statuses, so just keep that in mind. Okay. After it's accepted and acknowledged, ideally, we then see it with a paid status. Okay. Now these, again, paid statuses are going to be different based on what the insurance sends back, how they're paying that. If it's paid with an electronic remit that RelayHealth receives, we might see a paid ERA. If it gets paid on a paper check, we might just see paid or paid payer. Okay. These other statuses that are in here, instead of being paid, a claim could be rejected. Okay, it could also be denied. Those two edits, denied and rejected, are the actual insurance company or that third party. One of the two is rejecting the claim. It is not RelayHealth rejecting it. It is an insurance denial. Okay. The rejected, typically we would see right after an acknowledged status. So before it even gets put on an EOB for processing. The denied status we typically see when it comes back on an EOB as a denied claim, whether they're not covered for benefits during that time or whatever else the insurance company says. Okay, so that's where those two statuses will come in. The ready status means that claim is ready to be resubmitted. We're going to see that when we make corrections to these claims within ACM, and we kind of flip it to say, all right, go ahead and push this one back through for processing. Okay. Of course, printed, if we print that paper, if we print a paper claim, it would show printed status. The pended we typically do not see very often, but you can pend a claim if you need to kind of set it aside to work on that claim before filing it again. All right. EDI research, that one we have not seen yet. That just means that it's a status where the clearinghouse might be researching it for someone, meaning we've called to kind of have them open a ticket. But even then, they typically do not change the status. So this one is probably not one you'll see regularly. You can mark a claim as appealed or batched or complete or deleted, depending on what needs to be done with that claim. So we'll kind of talk about some of these others as we go through this webinar today. And like I said before, if you have questions, let us know. So back to searching for claims. Anything with an X is what we are searching for. So we can go through and manually check every box, or I can just hit this all button and it marks all of the statuses except for deleted claims. And that's because it assumes if you're looking for claims, you're not going to be looking for anything that you have marked as deleted. Okay, deleted claims are, it is just a flag to say, I'm working on this from Management Plus. I don't want to see this every single time I come in here. So you're going to mark it as deleted, but those are always available for you to pull up again. All right. When you are making selections in ACM, there are two choices up here. You have a little Save button, and if you hover over it, it says Save Selection. And then we have the X to cancel that selection. So just be aware of that when you are making changes, and just save if you really want to save. All right. So we have 25 statuses selected. All right. I can go a step further, and I can search for the last 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, or search everything. I can put in a specific date range if I wanted and base it off of when it was filed or by the date of service. Okay. This uploaded file, this is going to display all of the batches of claims that we have sent. Okay. We are in a demo environment, which is why we do not have anything in here. But if you go into your ACM, you are going to see all of your files that you've uploaded to RelayHealth, It'll show you the file name, the number of claims in that batch, and the total dollar amount of that batch. Okay? The reason this is an option is if you can go in and select a specific batch, if you're, the batch you're wondering about or have a reason to be concerned, we can come in and monitor just that batch by selecting it from this list. Okay, you have a billing provider, rendering provider. All right, the claim format, if you don't do dental or institutional claims, it does not cause any harm to have them checked. It's just not going to display any results because there's nothing there. Okay. Same thing with the outbound version. Everything should be going in 5010, but it's not hurting the 4010 format to have it marked. In the middle, we have all of the patient search fields. So the insured last name, the patient last name, the insured ID, a facility, a patient account number. Okay. EDI claim number. This, you could search for an EDI claim number if you had an EDI claim number. And I'll show you where that's saved in here. But typically that's not one that you'll use, and we do not have scrubbing turned on with RelayHealth for Management Plus clients. Okay. This is assigned to, just to kind of touch base on this, you can assign claims to various people. This is something that we do talk about in that Task Manager webinar. Basically, you're assigning a specific user either a group of claims or a certain claim, and it goes to their Task Manager, and then you can pull up claims that are assigned to that particular user to kind of see what's going on. But that is in another webinar called the Task Manager, so watch for that if that's something that you're interested in. Okay. All right, so we have by default primary, secondary, and tertiary. Again, leave those checked. It's not hurting anything to be out there. Okay, the third column we have our payer information. So we can search for a specific payer. If I just wanted to search Medicare, payer ID, payer name, the payer type. Maybe I want to search for all commercial plans. Okay, so those are just more options that you have when you are searching claims. Okay, trace number, a response message ID, and a retrieved ID. These three fields are generated by the clearinghouse, and they are visible within the claim manager. You can see right here we have the trace number, and then down at the bottom we have the response message ID and the retrieved ID. So we could take those ID numbers, plug them in here, and find all related claims to, maybe that have a similar error message. All right. The real-time only, the claim status, and the claim type, whatever the defaults are, just leave those. That's not hurting anything because you're in real data, real-time sending claims, so you're fine. All right. So we have our selections made, and so far all we've selected up here is the multi-statuses. I'm going to hit Select Claims over on the right side. Okay, when I hit that Select Claims button, it's basically like hitting Enter. It says, all right, I've put my filters in, now go find what I asked for. Okay, so select claims. Now we have all claims. There's 10,653 claims that it just pulled. Okay, we see this whole middle of this screen are my search results. Okay, well, maybe I don't want to see all of the ones that are paid and accepted. I want to find just my invalid and rejected claims so I can work those. Okay, over on the right side there is a button that says Select Invalid and Reject. When you click that, it's going through, still taking into consideration the filters that you've put up here. Okay, and now we're looking at just our invalid and rejected claims in here. Okay, there are only 38 instead of 10,000. All right, so what are we going to do with all of these claims now that they're in here? Over on the right side, top right corner, first thing is there's a print claim list. Okay, this print claim list is not going to print an individual HCFA for everybody. We do want status messages, and I'll explain why in a minute. What this print claim list does is it gives you a list of all 38 claims that are showing up back here as invalid or rejected. Okay, So the reason you might want to print this out is, depending on the rejections, you might need to use this as a training opportunity internally with your office. So if you see a trend of, insured ID numbers being entered incorrectly, or patients are missing the address or city-state zip on their account, okay, those are things that need to be addressed, maybe with the front desk or with someone else in your office, so that that can be corrected, and going forward you have clean claims. All right. So the status messages are just all of these little lines here that give the detail of what's going on. Otherwise, we would just have this top line showing the patient's name, the date of service, the payer, the billing provider, the rendering provider, the status, and the claim total. So if you're going to print this, you do want to make sure that you include those status messages. Okay. From here, you could print it using the little printer icon and do what you need to do. All right. So the clear selection button here, this just clears everything, so you can kind of start from scratch, start clean, and reselect your claims. All right. So we do want to see our invalid and rejected claims. Really quick, the last two buttons at the top right corner. There's a transfer files, which we won't be using because of how we load our claims to RelayHealth. Okay, that is an integrated process. It should be seamless on your side. You hit send, and you have a fair amount of confidence that they got there. There's no problem. Okay, this transfer files, we could come in and we could upload a file to them, but that's not how we have ours set up. And then the print reports. This is a short list of some of the reports that are available. There are other reports over here in the search tools, but we're going to save that for another webinar. Okay, you can go out and play with those if you'd like to become more familiar with them. Okay, so we have our invalid and rejected claims here in the middle. Okay, in this middle section, we have a ton of information. Okay, the EDI claim number, that is assigned by the clearinghouse. They use it, we really don't. That goes for the first 4 columns. Okay, I can call the clearinghouse and give them this EDI claim number, and they can look up the claim and tell me, what that is. You guys could call us and give us this EDI claim number, but most of the time we're all, used to using patient's name, date of service, the claim amount, right? So the statuses. This is where we're going to see what is the status of this claim. You can see invalid, and then we have rejected, because that's what we told it to find. The payer number, the payer name. You can sort these columns however you'd like. So if you would rather have these sorted by payer, so all of the Aetnas are together, all of the Medicares are together, that is absolutely fine. Okay, rendering provider, patient account, the insured's name, the patient name, if that is different than the insured, okay, like Kathy and James here. We have our date of service, the claim amount, the billing provider information, the facility, and as we go over, there's a few other pieces of information, but you can see it's not as much. So you should not have to scroll too often, okay. I mentioned earlier the trace number, and that if we have this number, I can take this long number and type it in here, and it will find that TSH claim ID for me. All right. But again, we always have the patient name. Now, these insurance company names that are in red, that simply means if it shows up red, that just means that that is a real-time payer, and that means that we can click on this Check Claim Status button over on the right side in the middle, and it connects to the clearinghouse, who connects to the insurance company to get an updated status on that claim. Now, these dates of service in this demo environment are from 2008, so of course it's not going to give us a real updated status. But your claims, you can click Check Claim Status. You see it's connecting, and it's giving us whatever results come back. All right. Now, down at the bottom of this screen, whatever line I have highlighted in my middle section, down at the bottom, I'm getting the responses specific to that claim. So the newest history is always at the top. All right, here's today's date just now. where it says undetermined error because it couldn't connect to Aetna and verify this fake claim. All right, that's fine. If we go backwards, we see down at the very bottom, this is the oldest information first on September 22nd, 2008 at 6:16 p.m. That claim was loaded. It's ready for testing. Okay, date and time is the same. It's valid, passed with no rejections. Fantastic. A minute later, that status was changed from valid to ready. So that user, Martha, went in and changed the status from a valid claim to ready to send to the insurance company. Okay, then it was sent to the receiver for processing, and then it came back with a denial, a rejection. Okay, and if we hover over this, come on, maybe. We hover over it, we see that yellow box that tells us the claim encounter has been rejected, has not been entered into the adjudication system, the entity not eligible for benefits, okay, for submitted dates of service. So there's our rejection. I can drag this all the way over if I wanted to and see the whole thing in red right here, okay? But you can also hover over that. It makes it a little bit quicker. Then we have the two today from where I just tried to check that claim status. So the bottom of every claim, this bottom section, is going to give us the information, what happened with that claim, all right? The print letter option is, these are different letters that are available. RelayHealth kind of does all the work for you. Okay, so if we were to do an appeal letter, you can come into ACM, say I want to print this appeal letter for the claim I have highlighted. When I view that, it's going to put together an appeal letter. All I have to do is print it, sign it, put it in the mail. All right. There are different letters that are available through ACM. You can see in here we have an appeal letter, a claim status letter, a claim refund, medical record submission form. Okay. Whichever letter, if you need one of these letters, you can come in and generate them from RelayHealth. All right. Now, while we're talking about letters, there's a print timely filing option down here. Sorry, I clicked on that too fast. Down in the bottom section, on the right side again, we have print timely filing. When you click that, it puts everything in place that you need, and you can send that timely filing letter. It shows all of the history. Okay, the payer accepted the claim for processing, was received at the clearinghouse, and so on. All right. So that is one of the great benefits of the claim manager, is you can print those timely filing letters and appeal letters. All right. It hopefully saves you a little bit of time. All right. So before we talk about some of these, we're going to go in and actually look kind of at the nitty-gritty of ACM. So we have this claim. Okay. This particular one, the provider down at the bottom in red, now blue, is where our rejection is. Okay, this particular one was denied for provider not valid or authorized for the submitter. This particular error message is something that we would need to look at. Was there a payer agreement on file? Is this provider set up with the insurance company? If this is something that I can fix in in ACM and just refile, then I'm going to do that. This particular one, I might not be able to. So this is a case where maybe I need to refile it from Management Plus. And as far as ACM goes, I just want to mark it as deleted. Okay, get it out of my way. I know I'm taking notes, and I need to fix that after I confirm with Empire Blue Cross that this doctor is set up and approved for submitting claims. All right. So what I can do to delete this claim is once it is highlighted, if I hit delete on my keyboard, this box is going to pop up and say, which one do you want to delete? You always want to just delete a single claim. Do one at a time. If you hit all selected claims, it will mark all 38 of these claims as deleted, and then you'll need to go back and find those manually. Okay, so just good rule of thumb, always go with single claims. Okay, make sure you save your selection, and you're going to see our status just changed from rejected to deleted. Okay? Let's look at some of these others. Okay, here we go. This one is a good rejection. This one I actually see quite often. Okay, it's invalid. The policy number is missing, and the subscriber policy must be at least 2 characters. Okay, it's the membership ID. Now, when the status is invalid, all right, there's 2 ways to get into this claim. For invalid statuses, you can actually double-click down at the bottom, and it will take us into that screen and highlight the field that is required. So now I can come in and put my policy number in here, okay, and save my changes. Once I save my changes, you see that my status automatically now says valid, and my rejections down here at the bottom are gone. All right, all I did was enter that ID number. So when it is invalid, you can double-click on the actual error message in the bottom section, and it will take you to that field. The other option you have is to double-click on the claim from this middle section. Okay, so if we double-click on it, it's going to take us into this claim, and here's my number. But you notice that my field was not automatically highlighted. Okay, now again, that's only true for invalid statuses. It does not work the same for rejected statuses. Okay, so while we're in here, all right, let's back up. We double-click on the claim, and what we're looking at in this screen is the claim level information. All right, so every claim, there's the claim level, and then there's the charge level. All right, so the claim level is going to be basically everything that is true to that claim, with the exception of your CPT codes, diagnosis codes, charge amount. Okay, so we have our insurance. That's at the claim level. It's true for the entire claim. And we have the insured's information. Over on the right side, we would have the patient information if that patient was not the insured. Okay, in this case, our insured is also our patient, so we only send across the insured's information. Just like if you were to print a paper claim, you're only going to see their name once if they are their own policy holder. Okay. Up in this top section, we have the insured ID number, the group number, if there's a prior authorization or referral number, okay, the relationship to the insured. All of this information is stored here as well. Okay, down below, you can see your date of service, the procedure codes. If there were any modifiers, those would be visible here, the charge amount, and then the number of units. Okay, so this screen is claim level information. Now, over on the right side, we have all of these boxes that are also at the claim level. Okay, we're going to go through these. The first one is the billing. Okay, this is, and actually this is an older version. All of these physicians are now in one screen. In this particular version, they did separate them out. But this is the billing provider, this is the pay-to provider, the attending provider, operating provider, and other. So if we needed to change who our billing provider was, okay, or who our attending is, we can modify that information. We could also change the rendering provider and the referring provider. This happens to be an institutional claim, which is why we see the attending and operating instead. Okay. So these are all physician fields. When we go into the physician field, this is what it looks like. It has the last name, the first name, their middle name, okay? Their qualifiers, so basically their NPI number. You know, this would be the XX, and then we have their NPI number down here. The referring providers sometimes might have a tax ID. The rendering providers might have a tax ID in here. The REF, Qual 1, Qual 2, Qual 3, all of these different REF fields, these are segments. Okay, so on the paper claim form, we have the boxes. Electronically, we have a loop and a segment. Okay, so these REF are just segments, basically indicating we are sending additional information other than the NPI number. Okay, on every provider screen, you're going to have an option for an NPI search and a UPIN search. That means I can come in here and click this NPI search, and I can search for a specific physician based on their name, the state that they're in. I believe specialty is in here. There's quite a few in here, so it's taking just a minute to load. Okay, so here's our names. If I were to, change my last name to Aaron, it's going to limit my search results. Okay, so UPIN search does the same thing. You can actually go in and search for UPINs for a specific provider if you needed to. All right, so that's what all of the physician fields do. That's what they look like. The facility, where was the patient seen? Okay, we should have our name, address. We should have an NPI number in here. CLIA, if you have a CLIA, that will show up as well. Okay, place of service is in here. So again, these are all just claim level fields that you might have to come in and view or adjust. Dates and days. In here we have, admit date, hour, discharge hour. There's co-insurance days. All right. Diagnosis info. This is one that is going to probably be used quite a bit. Okay, with the diagnosis information, this is where the diagnosis codes are entered. So if you have a rejection for an invalid or missing diagnosis code, we need to come in here to your diagnosis table and fix that code. All right. All of these are, we have other diagnosis, and this is a little bit different. You're not going to see all of this right now in the version that they have, that each of you would have. But you will have, the places for each of your diagnosis codes. Okay, we have claim codes. This is frequency, admission type. Okay, things that should automatically pull from Management Plus. Patient's weight, are they pregnant? Okay, other IDs. We have, this is the patient's account number, their medical record number. We could go into more detail if we needed to with the insured or the patient. Again, typically you will not have to use that because that information just pulls from the correct setup in Management Plus, saving you some work out in ACM. All right. Up at the top we have Insurance 2 and Insurance 3. If the patient has other insurances, there would be data in these fields. Okay. If it's a workers' comp claim, you've got the accident dates in here. Okay, the reasons, things like that. The SIG and assign button. Do you have the patient's signature on file, and does the patient authorize assignment? These two, again, should be filled out for you correctly because these boxes are in the patient's account when you add their insurance below the insured ID. There's two check boxes that are always defaulted to checked. One says signature on file, and the other one is patient authorizes assignment. That's what this means here. Okay. So again, you should not have to come into these very often, but they're here if you ever had to. The hardest part about ACM is just remembering where everything is. Okay. Otherwise, it's pretty straightforward. These other fields, claim notes, billing notes, paperwork, chances are if you're having to send paperwork on a claim or with a claim, you're having to send that claim on paper with all of that documentation. Okay. The miscellaneous data, okay, this again, populated for you. You should not have to do much with this. It's primary claim or secondary, and who, what's the filing indicator code. So everything on this main screen is at the claim level. Now, when we go down to our CPT codes, we get into the charge level information. Okay, so we have another box that popped up. It's a slightly different color, and the shades on your screen are going to be a little bit different because usually this lime green box is yellow, and then this is actually green. So they might vary a little. But now we are at the charge level information. We went in, we double-clicked on a specific CPT code. Okay, modifiers would show up here: the unit, date of service, the charge amount. Okay, and then again we have attending, operating, or other providers, which should normally be blank. We don't send providers at the charge level. Okay, they go at the claim level. The COB information, supporting documents, and miscellaneous data, if that is applicable, which this particular one is a primary claim, so it's not. There will not be anything in here, but this is where we can look for that COB or coordination of benefit information if it was a secondary. Okay. So we have the charge level and we have claim level information. Now, when you, let's come out of here. Okay, so now our claim is valid. A couple minutes ago, we fixed that ID number to where our status is now valid. That's when this ready button comes into play. Okay, if we hit ready, it changes our status to ready, and then that tells ACM and RelayHealth, go ahead and pull this claim back through, test it again, process it again, and if it does kick out again for another reason, then it will come back tomorrow as another invalid or rejected claim. Okay? But once you've hit ready, you're done. You don't need to do much else with this except wait for it to either reject or be paid. Okay? So then we're just going to move right down our list. Place of service code is missing. Again, we can double click on it because it is an invalid status. I can come over here and say that our place of service is going to be inpatient. All right, once I save that, now that status is valid. I come over and hit ready claim, and it's good to go. Okay, so we're just going to keep going down, working these rejections. All right. Now, there are a few other things within this middle screen. Okay, there's a View Claim Form button. If we click on that View Claim Form, it basically takes the claim and plugs it into a HCFA for you as though you were going to print it so you can see what's going on where. All right, you can see right here in box 21, RelayHealth does have this set to accommodate all 12 diagnosis codes. Okay, so they are ready with that new claim form. All right. There is also a way, if you right-click on this claim, okay, we have a whole menu of information. Right here in the middle, you can tell it to view the claim on the CMS form 212, which is the new one. It's required April 1st. Or you have the current form dated with the 8/5. Okay, so you can choose from here as well. If you were to do that, it's going to show on the old claim form. All right. So the other options that are in here is we don't need to go through and fix every one of these claims. The other options that are in here, this help menu, if you do go into that help, it's going to take you out to a website. With ACM, with RelayHealth, those of you that have been using it for a while know if you call RelayHealth and try to get some information, they're going to say, well, did you call Management Plus? Okay, so if you have questions on a rejection, just send support an email or call us. Don't worry about going through RelayHealth that way. Okay, the submit and end just closes that window. Now you can see we have to come back in here to look at our claims again. Okay, it's the same as Xing out of it. Cancel is escape. Okay, you can add and view attachments. When you do that, you have a few buttons over here on the right side. You can attach electronic, you can add other paperwork, you can open or view existing documents. Now, I have yet to see anyone use this, but if you needed to, you can come in and click these buttons, report type, is it certification or diagnostic or whatever, transmission method. I imagine this would just be for notes because you will still have to send that claim on paper with the documentation they need. Okay, so that's attachments, assigning and unassigning a claim. If this is a claim you want someone specific in your office to look at and work, you can assign it to a person by right-clicking, choosing the staff member that you want to assign, save that, and now that is going to be assigned to Barbara. Okay, I can unassign if I wanted to take it away from Barbara. Okay? Change the claim status. Remember I said you might need to come in and mark a claim as appealed or completed or pended. You can do that here by changing that claim status and save your choice. Okay? Check eligibility. We do not do our eligibility through ACM, so that is something that you won't be using that choice, that selection. Eligibility we do have with RelayHealth, but it is done through Management Plus, not through this ACM module. Okay? Check real-time status. That's the same as clicking on this Check Claim Status button for those payers that are red. Okay, marking it as a duplicate claim. Editing the claim is the same as double-clicking on it. It takes you into that claim so that you can work the rejection or fix what you need to fix. Okay. Find similar claims. Okay, when we do that, it's going to take you into this screen, so you can search by patient account number, the claim amount, the patient's last name, the date of service. All right. We can go out. It's going to display any matching claims down here. So this would just show you really if they had duplicate claims that were submitted, basically claims that match that same information. Okay. Okay, get support on a claim. Like I said before, if you need help, call our support team. Do not call RelayHealth because they will just refer you back to us. One more phone call you'll have to make. Okay. Ready claim, retest, and scrub. The ready, retest, and scrub buttons are all right here. The retest button you can click on if you needed to, if you made a correction and you wanted to just retest it to see if it goes through and the edits are all correct. Scrubbing the claim, we do not have that turned on for any of our clients, so you will not be using the scrubbing. Okay? Get inbound file. These next few choices are things you might not use. Occasionally, we might need to come in and view the inbound or outbound file. We would do that if we wanted to confirm what we uploaded, what we sent from Management Plus to RelayHealth, or the outbound being what RelayHealth sent on to the insurance company. So from time to time, our support team will go in and use those. Okay, view payer contact info. That's going to go out and just show us if there's, any specific settings for that insurance company. Okay. View COB summary. For secondary claims, this is very, very helpful. I recommend everybody use it. View COB summary will tell you if that claim is out of balance and where. Okay. So this one happens to be a secondary. Okay, we can see up here claim ID, patient information, primary payer is Blue Cross. Okay, Medicare is the one that is denying it currently. We have the paid amount showing as $35.23, the allowed amount as $50.23, and there are no cash segments. Okay, that it's pulling in. So the charge amount was $78. Here is the payer ID code for that specific loop. These are all just loops. Don't worry about, you don't have to know exactly what they are. Okay, this is the allowed amount, $50.23. They paid $35.23. There is a cash segment, and it could be a CO 45. It could be patient responsibility. Blue Cross said $15 is something, okay, in one of these cash segments. So then we have our paid amount plus cash segments over here. Okay, the adjudication date, is it in balance? You can see it's not equal. So then we have this little grid, and it kind of shows you right here that our claim is $78. We're only accounting for $50.23. So they're denying it because it doesn't balance. So we have the $35.23 that they had paid, the $15 that they applied to either a copay or deductible or coinsurance, or it was an adjustment on their side, but we're still missing the other cash segments. Okay, so that gives you an idea of where to start looking in Management Plus to find out why those claims are out of balance. All right. So again, what we did for that, right-click, view COB summary, that is going to help point you in the right direction if you cannot get a claim to balance. All right. Print all selected CMS forms. This would print a HCFA 1500 for every single claim that's in here. Ready all of these is going to change the flag to ready on all of them, and scrub all, like I mentioned before, we don't do the scrubbing. Okay. So everything in the middle section, these are all of our results from what we filtered out up in the first section. Okay. And then, like I said down here, these are the specific status messages for the claim that we have highlighted. All right. So this patient is Saul-Worst. Okay. Down here at the bottom, the claim was loaded. Secondary claims must have a paid amount. It requires line level adjudication date and primary payer info at the line level. So we do not have any of this information entered, so Medicare is not going to pay it. All right. If you right-click in this third section, there's another right-click menu. Okay, again, the first one, like I said, if you need help on a claim, call Management Plus support. This is not going to get you very far. Okay, submit and cancel is going to close the screen. Okay, you can view the change history log. That means, let's actually find a claim that we made valid. So I want to find my valid claims. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to find valid and select those claims, and it couldn't find any. Okay, so that's okay. All right, we're going to do it this way. When we did the right click and can view the change history log, this is going to show you every change that's made and what user was signed in doing it. Okay, so you can see this was loaded, ready for testing, and then, you know, this user came in, and that's where we had these denials. Okay, so this user was working on these. Now, if I were to go in and change this paid amount to let's just say they paid $15. We're just going to make this up for a minute. And I save that. Save that. Okay, well, now I made it worse. But if I go in and look at this history log, it's going to show that here's my demo username, made a change, and then caused a whole bunch of rejection. Okay, so that history log is there so you can kind of keep track and know who did what. Okay, print proof of timely filing letter. That's the same as clicking on the timely filing button over on the bottom right corner. Add a memo. You can add a memo, and again, that same button is right over here on the right side of the bottom screen. Okay, I can come in and say that I caused more rejections by adding $15 paid amount. Okay, whatever your note's going to be, you can save that. Okay, and then it's going to show in blue. So anybody else who comes behind me and sees this blue line, this blue text, they're going to know that somebody did something, and then they can go in and they can view that memo. Okay, they can view the change history log, see what's going on, and help if possible. All right. Now you can edit a memo, and we can get this out of here, and we can save it, and then that note disappears. But if you're putting notes on there, it's just for your use anyway. It's not going on the claim form. It's not going to hurt to leave it in there. Okay. That was so editing a memo. Okay. These other two, view EOB standard remit, ANSI data, retrieve response file, view claim in an outbound batch file. These are all different. The ANSI and the retrieved and the claim, those are going to be raw data files. Okay. The EOB standard remit, we can go into, we might have to look at a paid claim. Yes, let's look at a paid claim. Okay. Let's go down. We'll find a paid claim. There we go. Okay. So we're going to right-click on a paid claim and view this standard remit. This is going to show us the remittance for this particular claim. We have all of our provider-patient information, date of service. Okay, we have our codes on here, CO42, PR3, and then we have your description down here, your glossary down here at the bottom. Now you can print this. You can change the style if you'd like to, just depending on what you're used to seeing. All right. So you do have those EOBs available if the insurance supplies them for us. We can't go into an accepted claim and view the EOB because there isn't one to pull. All right. So that's what the EOB. Now the view, let's go back to this paid claim. If we view the ANSI data, let's see, yeah, it's not going to give it to us, so it's too old in here. We've deleted a lot of these demo files. Okay. The retrieved response is going to come back in from the insurance, but again, it's just the raw data. Okay. We don't expect anybody to sit and go through and read these. Occasionally, we will need to, if we needed to confirm, did we really forward on that OA17 for 303 adjustment from the primary? Something like that, we might look at this. Okay. Create a COB claim. Okay, this particular message will come up. Status does not contain ERA data for COB claim, because this is not a secondary claim that we shouldn't be creating coordination of benefit information. So it's going to kind of prompt you of what you should and should not be doing. Okay. Edit the claim is the same as double-clicking on it. All right, again, this is our claim level information, and we can go down into our charge level information. All right. Okay. The last option in here is view status message. That's just going to take you in to view that message on one screen instead of seeing it laid out like this. All right. The other thing I want to go into is one more time is once we're looking at this claim, once we get into the claim and we look at it, we have our CPT codes down here. Within the COB screen, we do have a bunch of these fields. Okay, over on the right side, we have all these little boxes. Of course, we have our physicians, the rendering, referring, primary care. There might be a supervising or ordering. We do not send the information for the physician at the individual charge level. That only goes at the claim level, so these should always be blank. Same thing with the facility. We send the facility for the entire claim, not by CPT code. Okay. The dates, though, you might have an assumed and relinquished care date, last x-ray, last seen, any of these other date boxes. It might be specific to a CPT code. You can have those in ACM, but again, they should pull from Management Plus. Okay. One that we see a lot, and just so everybody kind of understands it, is a DX reference, or the error will say invalid or missing diagnosis code pointer. Okay. That diagnosis code pointer, what that means is the insurance company or the clearinghouse was not able to tell which diagnosis code was primary or secondary or tertiary. Okay, so we have this DX reference button. That means diagnosis pointers. So basically, when we come in here, we have DX1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, eventually the screen will be bigger. What we're doing is, this is actually a perfect example. On DX1, we said V70.0 is the first diagnosis code for this CPT code 99396. Okay, but we did not specify which diagnosis code was second. So this claim would actually reject for an invalid diagnosis code pointer, because we need to come in and say, for diagnosis 2, that is this code. All right. Now these don't have to go in order. Maybe this is number 2, and this is, or this is number 1, and this is number 2. All right, so the pointers are just asking which code goes first, second, third, or fourth. All right, so that's where the DX reference comes into play. Line note, box 19. Okay, information that goes on box 19. That's all that is. Now these other fields you're not going to use too often. The home health, the drug IDs, this is like NDC information, that should populate directly from Management Plus, but we could come at it after the fact if needed. Okay, the test results. If there were any test results, we can right-click in here and add an additional record or edit one that was already in here. Okay, test results. I don't see this too often with what our specialties are. So it's there if you need it, and if not, that's okay. The home health I skipped over, the number of visits, the frequency, duration. You have this available if you need it. Again, you might not, considering the specialty that we're in. COB information, however, that is one you're going to see a lot. Okay. Hopefully we have just clean claims that go through the first time, but if not, then we have the COB information. This is where we are storing and sending the primary payer ID. How much did they pay? What was the procedure type? Maybe there were modifiers. What was the approved amount? The adjudication date? And then we get into the different CAS segments. Okay, contractual information, patient responsibility, corrections and reversals, other adjustments, okay, payer-initiated reduction. If you have any of these on that claim, then we can come look in the COB information and fix them from here. So if we needed to fix the CO45 in this screen, this is where we would do it. All right. If we needed to specify their deductible amount or their copay, we could come in here and put that information in. All right. So the COB information is one that you will use probably more than the rest. Okay. The contract info, again, this is typically blank, but you can come in and put this if you have an insurance that requires it. All right. Contract amount, percentage, so on. Okay. Reporting docs, and then the miscellaneous data. Again, if you have this information, great. It's not going to be on every claim, maybe even half of your claims. All right, but it's here if you need it. So again, the hardest part about ACM is just remembering where everything is. And there's things that we still have to look around for a minute to remember where did I see that? Because there are so many menus and buttons in this product. Okay. Cancel this. So the most important thing to remember is the middle section is going to display all of your results, what you told the system to go find. If you say, go find my invalid and rejected claims, that's what it's going to do. That's what it's going to display in this middle section. If you told it to go find all of your paid or acknowledged claims, that's what it's going to find. Okay? And then down at the bottom is always where you're going to look for your rejection message. Okay? Secondary provider, tax ID number, social security number must be valid. Okay? If you have errors or rejections that you see that you're not familiar with, or they don't make sense, because some of them, they come back and they make no sense at all, let us know, because we can help you fix those. We can get a hold of the clearinghouse. If we can't figure it out, we can get a hold of the clearinghouse, get an answer for you, and kind of help you through that. The buttons that are on here, these are really just the most commonly used, but remember, you do have this right-click menu available if it's something that you need. Okay, sometimes those EOBs do come in handy, especially on a secondary claim. Go look at the primary EOB and go from there. That's really all there is for the claim manager. If you guys have questions, let us know. Otherwise, I appreciate your time today. Hopefully this was helpful. watch for the other webinars. There's going to be one for the task manager and there's one for the reports. Those are going to be helpful to kind of go through. These are recorded, so we can send that to you if you wanted to watch it again. You know, at your own pace, that's fine. I know sometimes these seem to go really fast. So if you have questions, let us know. Get a hold of our support team. But again, I appreciate your time and hope you all have a great afternoon.